Sentenced to Be a Hero fans. This is Chris Bolts, and I'm coming in with an episode recap and review of this week's episode of Sentenced to Be a Hero. Turn on those post notifications, all that stuff really helps me out. Now, we catch up from last week's episode that shows we're going into the tunnel part where those remaining miners were trapped and they're fending off the invading fairies, and they're going to take them down and everything, and that's how the episode starts off. So it starts off with a little bit of action. Never mind the time inconsistency. It probably took them, we got to assume that it took them a few moments just to get there get there in time, but bottom line is they were able to go ahead and fend off that wave of fairies that was coming to go ahead and attack the miners. The miners are now have a little bit of downtime, giving Hargel some time to go in there and craft and enchant their weapons, because Hargel is a expert at crafting seals. And one miner asks him how long can they keep fighting, and he says he doesn't really know or anything like that. It's a good question. The class right there is very important, because that class actually is an indicator of how much power Xylo has remaining in his daggers, which apparently are magically fused daggers, because he can just keep on replicating those forever and ever and ever and throwing them. There's a little bit of a downtime again for the miners to go ahead and have conversations with them, and here we have Hargel and Xylo strategizing. Hargel says that he'll take up the forward, and Xylo's says he'll follow behind and take up the rear. So this is a really think of it as a wave of enemies that are coming. Like if you play your video games or anything like that, they usually have waves of 3. That's what's going on right here. There's going to be 3 big waves of enemies before we finally get to the boss right here. And Hargel says, actually puts out some changes the plan there on that, because and then Tatsuya will die third. And Hargel, even though he's a prisoner, he treats himself like a king, and he calls all the miners his subjects and says it is very important for the miners to survive and whatnot. We go back here to the holy soldiers, and the commander here is having a discussion with the priest, who actually basically forced the heroes to go into the caves themselves. He said there's no need for us to sacrifice ourselves. That was established in the last episode. So Torietta, he insults her, says she's been acting like that since her pacted hero left her. Pretty much no use as a weapon. Of course, Torietta may have overheard that, because she finds herself running towards, will be finding herself running towards the other heroes to fight along with them. We got another down period again. Bro, even though it's a dark fantasy and it has a story to tell, it should be more action oriented than what you would expect of the anime Frieren. Frieren should be more story focused, whereas Sentenced to Be a Hero should be more action focused. And that's pretty much how each one established themselves. When we watched that first episode of Sentenced to Be a Hero, it was established that this was going to be more action-packed, more action-driven, as opposed to story-driven. So there should be more action scenes and happening in these episodes than there should be downtimes and whatnot. And I think this episode was a pretty good balance of that. We see that it seems everything is going to be hopeless right here as these fairies swarm in, but then you see all the fighting against it. Torietta actually helps Xylos, who's always being so. We all know why he's very forceful against wanting to have anything to do with the goddess, but that doesn't have any impact on Torietta. Torietta actually goes in there and helps heal him so that the tinnitus does not bother him or anything, so he's able to fight. And we see right here, this is and again, this is kind of like Dark Souls now. This is the first part of the Demon Lord that we're looking at right here, this crazed looking sylph. SYLPH, which is basically a wooden fairy, if you will, that has the body of a female. This is what she looks like in her first form. Tatsuya's have a really good success against that particular form and everything. As you hear, Xylo says he's going to aim at this demon lord, and he actually succeeds in splitting the demon lord in half. But again, like I said, this is the second part, or first part rather. because the first part, this is the actual boss right here. This is the main boss right here. This is the main part of the Demon Lord. So this has been pretty much kind of like a whole entire Dark Souls, Soulsborne type anime combined with an action RPG such as like, oh, I don't know, like Borderlands, where you have to fight waves of enemies before you get to the final boss there. Ultimately, Hargel discovers that this box is Hargel forces him to drop the flame. Torietta gets the flame over here to Xylos. Xylos is trapped, but Hargel is determined. He actually goes in there and hacks off his own leg, gut style. He starts hacking off his leg, and once he hacks off his leg, he drops off into the eye of this boss, this Demon Lord, and they're delivering the killing blow. And then that's followed up by Xylos burning it to death, and they're able to rescue all of the miners. The miners are very thankful for the heroes doing what they did. This little turd, where is he? Let me get a picture of him. This little turd cleric who didn't do anything to help out is not thankful for them helping him out or anything. The villagers are thankful to them. This little girl gives Xylos a flower. Xylos in turn gives that flower to Torietta, which is a very, I'm not saying Torietta, it's Teorita. I keep saying Torietta, it's Teorita. Teorita, she gives it to Teorita, and here's this scene right here where this piece of shit cleric and where the commander is chastised the cleric, said, hey, it won't kill you to let them be praised for the hard work that they did, because they absolutely did do some hard work. They went in there, they saved the miners, they put their lives on the line, they being the heroes, the goddess, along with her knight Xylos, Tatsia, and Hargel, did the hard work of saving the villagers while the holy knights sat back and cowered. And she says, better than someone who waves around that crest and doesn't do a minute of real fighting, which is what a lot of these loudmouths who don't fight do. They will sit there and they'll chastise a warrior how he fights, but they won't lift a finger and get their own hands dirty. So this is actually a pretty good episode. I thought it was a pretty good balance of storytelling and lead more heavier into the action. It did start off kind of slow. The thing is Sentenced to Be a Hero is doing a little trick with Xylos, at least. Not so much with Tatsia, as you guys can see right there. When Tatsia gets into fights, they actually show it very animated, very fluid, very chaotic action sequences. But when it comes to Xylos, they'll do something where they won't really show any type of action. They'll just show him as though he's throwing his daggers and they're exploding all over the place to make it seem like he's involved in the action. I would like to see more scenes where he is actually fighting like he was in the first episode. They can be more dynamic with that type of activity and whatnot. So that's my only major complaint about the episode right here. I'm gonna give this episode an 8 out of 10. Really good balance of storytelling and action. Again, when it comes to Sentenced to Be a Hero, we need more action, some storytelling, some exposition, but more action. When it comes to Frieren, we want more storytelling with some action. That's just the nature of these characters. These characters have two different types of styles of storytelling and novelization about them, and they need to be leaned in heavily as such. So this is a really good episode for Sentenced to Be a Hero, and can't wait to see what the next episode brings. What did you guys think of this episode? Whatever your thoughts, jump down in the comments and let me know what you think, and make sure you like, share, subscribe, turn on those post notifications. All that stuff really does help me out. And remember, this is Chris